Hello, hello, hello. This is Attorney Mike Raven coming to you from Chicago as usual. And I just did a marathon stream. I was trying to get the Eric Martin trial, which I did, and it's fantastic. And I would recommend that video. However, in order to do it, I had to stream for like 5.5 hours. And afterwards, I edited it down, but there were a couple of nuggets along the way while we were waiting that were really good. So I just edited that down just so it was the Eric Martin trial, and then I took the good nuggets and I'm uploading them as this video here. If you happen to be on that stream, it's still worth seeing again. But you've already seen it. But if not, these are really, really fun bits.
All right, Your Honor, next up is Lawrence Foster.
Judge, I was not able to speak with Mr. Foster earlier. There was a concern based on staffing and for officer safety, getting him out of a cell. So we're gonna have to do the full arraignment on the record.
All right, Mr. Foster, can you hear me?
Well, you hear Terry Foster, nephew.
All right, this is 252041, the people versus Lawrence Foster. Sure, tell me your first and last name.
Lawrence Allen Foster. It's
All
my
right.
honor to be in court first off.
Okay, sir, you have one charge against you here. It looks like
What
interference
is
with
sitting in front of my motherfucking house? Sitting in front of my
police authority, and that's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. You understand that?
First off, what did I do wrong? You took my keychain. You come
All right.
up.
Sir, you have the right to an attorney, and that attorney will be appointed at public expense if you can't afford an attorney. The allegations are
I've been studying my law. Why are you over talking me? Animals, please.
If you have a trial, you have the
Animals,
following
please.
rights to call witnesses to speak for you at trial, and get an order signed by the court to require witnesses to come to court. You also have a right to see, hear, and question all witnesses against you.
Sit on the floor, stall. Who
Remain
gave you the right to
chose
sit
not
on
to
the
be a
floor,
witness
stall?
on your own behalf, the prosecutor could not comment on your refusal to testify. You also have the right to be presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Those are your rights, sir.
That's my cue. That's
Okay,
my
I
cue.
signed the request for a court-appointed attorney. You understand the charges against you, and if you don't, it's because you refuse to listen and want to scream over me while I'm trying to give you.
Animals,
So you're
please.
gonna go ahead and enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. I see that he has 2 cases out of East Point and Detroit, both of them. No bond on both of them.
It's my honor to be here in front of you today.
He has a $1,500
Who
cash
gave you
assurance
the right
bond.
to sit
You're
on
to
the floor?
appear in court as directed. You're not to leave the of the court. Are you okay, Ronnie? Yes. Okay, you're not to commit any new crimes while released. You're to immediately notify the court of change of address or phone number. Okay, no drugs or alcohol. You may be subject to testing.
All right, I will. See you later.
Okay, that is perfect, sir. I'm so glad to hear we're on the same page. Have a good day. We'll see you at your next court date.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I didn't hear the bond over his yelling.
He has a $1,500 cash or surety bond with standard bond conditions.
And Judge, would it be appropriate at this time to maybe refer for a
We're
forensic?
gonna refer him for a DSU.
Thank you so much.
Well, that was
All right,
fun.
or I'm sorry, for a competency.
Say
Okay, has he been like that at the jail the whole time?
that again, I'm sorry.
Has he been behaving in this manner at the jail the whole time like this?
Yeah, we just came in this morning and there's food and there's toilet paper all over his cell. As on the jail sheet, he's got a mentor and lead. He was on co-op on intake, so we just.
All right, we'll get him a competency evaluation.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, next will be Danielle and Brian Johnson versus Kelly Phoenix. Okay, all right, and Ms. Phoenix, I see that you were served with the notice of the hearing on July 8th. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Right, thank you. All right, and so same thing, I'm gonna swear the parties in here. The Johnsons are the petitioners here, so they're gonna get to go first, and then I'll hear from you, Miss Phoenix, and make a decision, okay? All right, so can I have all you raise your right hands, please? And do you each swear the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll hear from the Johnsons first.
Okay, do you want us to start, I know you have all the paperwork, do you want us to start from the beginning, from the 2 years ago, or 2 years of this?
Well, it's
From the
really
Big
up to
Bang,
you,
please.
but do keep in mind that I do have your whole petition here, which is made part of the record and I'm aware of it.
Okay, so basically, this has been 2 years ongoing with Kelly. She was a member of the gym. She started stalking our grappling instructor, Paul. He is a lawyer, by the way. She sent, over 100, like 125 emails to him during the day. So we had to let her go out of his class. And when Brian would explain it to her that she can't take it because of her mental illness, she's diagnosed schizophrenic and she has psychosis. I've also talked to her 2 sisters, one that she lives with that says she doesn't take her medications, and her estranged husband, but she was under the impression that Paul had the same for her as she did with everybody else in the gym, telling Brian, well, you don't see it, you don't feel it, you don't see that energy. And Brian's like, no, he does not want you in the class. Like, she was just, it was just too much. And so she kind of just stayed to herself in the gym, walked on the treadmill. And then soon after that, she had in her mind that Brian wanted to be with her. And that's why Brian kicked her out of Paul's class. And then she started in with Brian. And so we had to kick her out of the gym because she was just getting crazier and crazier. So you see all the stuff that she did. She sat behind his car several times when he was leaving the gym, sent him flowers, sorry. All those texts, emails, trying to get together, trying to have drinks. She did that also to a couple other guys in the gym. Then it kind of died down a little bit. She put a horrible email out or a text, or a Facebook message that you have a copy of that, that she took down after I confronted her with that, but it got out to members. And then she kind of died down for a while until a couple of weeks ago, where she started sending out those emails about those horrific things about our daughters, Brian, and then the second one stating that Brian and I did a murder to hire here and all this crazy stuff. And we have all the proof for that. We're just doing a civil suit on that part of it.
What?
But what we're concerned about, and also the police officer in South Carolina states, because of her mental instability, he's concerned her blasting these emails out to businesses and members that somebody is with our addresses, our kids' names, that somebody is going to believe some of that stuff, and they're scared for our livelihood or what's going to happen to our business. And Kelly has said about 5 months ago, her estranged husband said she was going to come back here, and she has it in her mind that she is welcome back into our gym. And so our members are afraid. Our kids are afraid of her because she's not well. And we're just trying to protect that. And I, if she does come back here, I don't know why she would come back here. Her estranged husband and kids both have restraining orders on her. So she doesn't have anything here, but being her mental illness, I just don't trust her at all with what she's capable of doing. And then her husband, we have a letter from him to ex-husband, or soon to be ex-husband, said that she was trying here to get a gun. She really wanted to get a gun. And he was afraid because how she was talking about me, because, she thinks that Brian wants to be with her and I need to be basically removed from the situation. So that's about all, but you have all the rest. So we're just really afraid of what she might do or what she's capable of.
And Mr. Johnson, did you want to say anything as well?
Just, that's pretty much it, Your Honor. In a nutshell, just she's shown up to our gym after I removed her from the gym, blocking me in behind my vehicle. I've taken pictures of that. She's been sending me flowers, emails stating that she thinks that we have this thing between us, which we don't, which I don't understand because she's never really been in my groups in my gym. She's been with everybody else, and how this turned from my grappling instructor to me, I just can't fathom it. I don't understand why she's doing this. And she's done this to a couple of my other members of my gym, that she's wrote them letters and emails and so forth. And these are married men. And finally, I had to remove her from my gym. And then that's when the hardcore stalking started, where she was showing up behind my vehicle at 9 o'clock at night, blocking me in. And I called Lacey PD when this happened way back. And they were saying, get a restraining order. I should have back then. I thought it was going to go away. And then the crazy Facebook post stating that I broke into her house, put video surveillance cameras in her house. I put trackers on her phones. Then the final one is she's emailing all my sponsors to my Northwest Fight Challenge event and all the members of the gym, stating that I raped my kids and that I raped all their friends. And then she's stating, and she wrote another email out to everybody, blasting it out again, that my most favorite, that I've confided in her, that I'm raping, and my most favorite is my adopted sister, which I don't have an adopted sister, but she's putting this crazy stuff out there that my favorite person I'm raping is my adopted sister, which I don't have, you know, and so forth. But I mean, it's just, I fear for my wife, myself, my kids, members of my gym, that this lady that it clearly has mental issues is going to show back up here in the state of Washington every day since I've removed her from my gym. When I open my door to leave the gym, I scan the parking lot looking to see whether or not she's going to be around the corner with a gun, that, you know, something bad's going to happen to me or my family, because if she can't have me, nobody can. Or if she removes my wife from the situation, you know, then we're going to have whatever she thinks in her delusional mind that she's going to get. I just want her nowhere around us because she's unstable, and I just want to feel safer in our business, our home, from this lady that's clearly mentally ill. And so, and you have everything there that she's been doing, the emails, everything, and she's blowing my home address out to emails to people. Like my wife was stating, if one person believes this, are they going to come and try to burn my house down? You know, are they going to try to do something bad to me or my wife or my kids because they're going to believe what she's stating in these emails that she's putting my personal address and my kids' name into? I just want it to stop, and I want her to be away from us, and a restraining order will restrict her from, there's consequences if she disobeys a restraining order.
All right, thank you both. Okay, Miss Phoenix, it's your turn to tell me your side of it.
Okay, I deny or refute a lot of what they said. It's outright false or wild or exaggeration. Now, I did file a mutual restraining order against them. However, unfortunately, it was not there in time. I think I filed it. I sent it to the wrong email address. You may have some things I've already submitted. So I do have a mutual restraining order request on both of them. And I also have a police report made over years ago. So when I joined this gym, it was in 2015, and he kicked me out of his gym in 2017 as a direct result of having rejected his sexual advances towards me. And so a lot of this happened a long time ago. I deny any kind of stalking behavior. In fact, I have accused him of stalking me, and is why I had to leave the state. He clearly admits to having called my family, my husband, completely inappropriate. He has information and inaccurate information about that. He's also been the one posting things on his business's Facebook page. The petition I have submitted and will submit a more thorough one today at the correct email address will show the evidence that I will submit about things that they posted, things that they texted as well. Danny Johnson called me, threatened me. Brian Johnson threatened me as well. I prepared a statement to a declaration in response to this, if I may read that.
It's your decision.
Okay. Okay, I declare that I've never stalked their employee, which was one of their claims, and certainly not continuously. The employee that Brian Johnson is presumably referring to is Paul Boudreau, who is Brian Johnson's jiu-jitsu instructor. as well as his personal attorney. Paul is also my former jujitsu instructor. Now, Paul was the one who kicked me out of his class after I was in his class for almost a year, and it was through personal issues with him and I. It was not Brian who kicked me out, it was Paul, and not as a result of stalking or inappropriate behavior. He thought I was disrespectful to him in class. Regarding the statement that I sat in behind my vehicle and behind Paul's vehicle and waited for him. On roughly 2 occasions upon leaving this gym for the night after that jiu-jitsu class ended in 2015, every weekday, Paul Boudreau was actually the one who started sitting behind my car several times at night. Now, I didn't think this was stalking or inappropriate. I just assumed this was chivalrous kind of behavior because it was dark. But we never talked about it. And so I did the same to him on only 2 occasions, mind you. But this is certainly not an example or evidence of me stalking him.
What?
But in Brian Johnson's own petition, he clearly admits that he inappropriately contacted both my husband and my lawyer, as well as my sisters, after I had suffered a nervous breakdown. As a result, I believe was their stalking of me, not only stalking me, but defaming me and slandering me in the whole community there, such that I felt the need to flee that state. I plan on finally be able to afford to hire a lawyer and subpoenaing some poor witnesses and having a civil case against them and having this finally proven. But I have not been able to afford that. My divorce settlement is next month. I will be returning to Washington then. Hopefully, I'm anticipating having some funds in order to do this.
It's like we just lost Miss Phoenix's connection. All right, we'll stand by for a minute here. There we go.
I'm sorry, my phone cut off. May I continue?
Yeah, we just lost you for a couple seconds
back,
there, so
baby.
you can pick up where you left off.
Okay. In his own petition, he clearly admits that he's inappropriately contacting both my husband and my sisters, getting information from them. I did have a nervous breakdown a couple of years ago. I had never had any mental issues prior to that, certainly not when I was a member of their gym. And the diagnosis, which I refute, I believe is erroneous and ultimately was defined as related to marijuana usage, which I no longer even use. It's not legal in South Carolina. I have not used that for a while since moving here. I've made 2 separate police reports about the stalking behavior by Brian Johnson, but unfortunately was not able to obtain the copies of those reports in time to include with this response. I was actually hoping to have an extension, if that's possible, for evaluation of these, what will be mutual petitions for protection, restraining orders. I've also submitted my own petitions for protection. They were filed this morning. Apparently, I sent an email to the wrong place, though you may have some I did file correctly a couple days ago. I suspect that the main reasons they have filed this petition, which I'm not even in the state, I don't understand why they think I've been stalking them. I certainly never talked to her. So I suspect that the main reasons they filed this petition, is to attempt to thwart me pursuing further legal action against them, both civilly and criminally, as in the protection order, there was a request to prevent me from engaging in any further legal action against them. It behooves them to make me look insane as defense and distraction from my own old as well as ongoing accusations of their stalking of me. It is a very timely action of theirs, as I will be returning to Washington next month to finalize my divorce for my husband. And I feel threatened from Brian Johnson and Danny Johnson, both of them of which have threatened me. As I've long suspected that Brian installed or had someone install stalkerware or spyware apps on both my cell phone and laptop that I left unattended in his gym, they would have been privy to this information. I'm anticipating receiving money for my divorce settlement, at which point I will finally be able to hire an attorney to subpoena some critical witnesses that can corroborate the definite pattern of defamation that Brian has been applying to me in retaliation for having rejected his sexual overtures towards me. His being rejected by me is why Brian Johnson kicked me out of his gym 1 day after I had rebuffed him. I definitely do not believe that I'm welcome back in his gym, nor do I want to be. I never want to be in that place again, or see him, or see any of them. I suspect Brian Johnson to be a predatory, malignant narcissist who has a definite warped sense of reality and gaslights everyone. He's a former part-time Tumwater, Washington police officer. The day after he prematurely ended my gym contract, I went back to his gym to attempt to speak with him. He'd been very upset and he kicked me out. When I did so, he threatened me with the, quote, dossier that he had told me that he had been compiling against me. Very private information from my life that he should not have known, which led me to speculate that he still has and abuses access to the private confidential information in the Tumwater Police database. I've never signed John back to his gym on occasions to attempt to talk to him in his patients. And again, that was in 2017. And though I was not interested in him, I'd been friendly with him. I sent many emails to him following being kicked out of his gym. I sent a lot of emails to Paul, but that was throughout the year I was his student, not afterwards. And I've not since sent any emails to Paul Boudreau. So this was about 7 to 8 years ago. I've not sent any emails, called them, seen them, or made contact with them since then. As my husband and I have been engaged in an acrimonious custody battle and prolonged separation, my husband was able to acquire sole custody of our kids through duplicitous means. I was never a threat to my children. It had nothing to do with any mental health issues. It was ultimately a misunderstanding, and it's something that I hope to rectify very soon in my divorce settlement. I'm not sure what emails that Brian Johnson is referring to. And also, when I received this petition, I didn't receive any kind of, I don't know what it says he attached some evidence to his case, but I didn't receive anything like that. And I had been under the assumption that that had to be included. So I seek for a continuance of this, and I have all of my paperwork over.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Phoenix. All right, I'm not going to grant a continuance. I was clear in the beginning. I asked the parties if they were ready to proceed, and all the documentation was filed with the court in a timely manner, so I don't see any reason why any exhibits or any other documentation wouldn't have been available to the parties well in advance of today's hearing.
Sir,
Yeah, Ms. Phoenix, I'm going to ask you not to.
Okay.
Ms. Phoenix, I'm going to ask you not to
Okay.
interrupt. Okay. I'm going to actually insist on that. This is the part of the case. Now I've heard both sides. I'm going to tell you my decision and I'll explain why I made it. That's not an invitation for you to interrupt or argue. Okay. If you do, I'm going to have the clerk mute your microphone and that'll be your end of participating in the hearing. Clear enough?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the parties have presented their cases. The Johnsons are the petitioners with the burden of proof to show by a preponderance of the evidence they're entitled to the order that they have asked for. And they, in my view, based on the testimony that they provided today and the exhibits that they provided as well, that this is clearly a case where they've established that stalking has occurred. They've supported that through their testimony as to the actions of Ms. Phoenix. They've supported that through the various letters and emails and other forms of communication by Ms. Phoenix that they have found to be upsetting. Those things have gone on over a period of time. They're targeted at the Johnsons. They clearly express a desire that the Johnsons should be placed in fear for their safety, not only from Ms. Phoenix, but from other people that she is attempting to create the impression that the Johnsons may need to fear as well. This is all obviously coordinated or linked in a way to make the Johnsons feel intimidated and scared at all times. And based on their reaction to the various kinds of communications, they have been scared. And a reasonable person in their position would be scared based on the actions that Ms. Phoenix has taken. There's no lawful purpose to any of this. The only caveat I'll say in that is that if there's any litigation related to defamation or, you know, what you folks have referred to as libelous statements or slander, that's beyond the scope of this court's jurisdiction in this matter, and that would have to be decided separately in a different kind of legal action in a different court. So I'm not making any pronouncements about the validity of any kind of defamation or whether any of that's actionable. I will therefore grant and enter a stalking protection order protecting the Johnsons. And I'm going to place that order in effect for 5 years.
He really needs to protect the Johnson here. I don't know why I can't get it. I was on her page. Well, that was some out there stuff.
All right, I've signed the stalking protection order.
Someone sent me the
As I've
link on
indicated,
IG.
It's been reduced to writing and it will be available to
Shackelford's new
both
stream.
parties.
I
The
cannot
court clerk
find it.
will send you each your copies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. And that'll end the hearing for today.